from Chicago. From our Chicago office is my colleague Jack Hojnar. Jack, how are you today?
Awesome. How are you doing, Ken?
Good, good. Got a bright sunny day here in New York. And Jack, one of the things you've been doing a lot of good research on is the difference in credit card benefits. We obviously have been providing credit card benefits for over 30 years to major banks around the country and their customers. And you notice a difference between what we might call perks and benefits. Why don't you take us through your thought on that?
Yeah, sure. I think there's always to the bank's credit, they're always trying to find ways to drive customer interaction, cardholder interaction. And there are some that are more near term and tactile, if you will, because you can experience them quickly. There are others that you can't really experience until perhaps you have something bad happen to you. So we've been kind of writing and talking about the difference between perks and benefits. Not that they're not all beneficial to the consumer, it's just sometimes easier to put them into different buckets. And so whether this is an issuing bank paying attention to our video right now or even a consumer, there's a couple of distinctions that I just wanted to talk about today that I think are important to understand. And they both do the same thing. They try to drive behavior and to provide incentive and retention to consumers. They also come at different intervals in the consumer usage life cycle. Does that make sense as I describe that first?
Yeah, why don't you take us through the distinction that you see?
Sure. So a perk is something that is more readily available and more tied to potentially a more, in some cases, narrow use. Years ago, for example, there was an offer, and I can't remember which bank did it, but they offered Fandango coupons. So once a month, if you used a particular card, you could, and you had a Fandango account, you could get a buy one, get one free movie experience. So that would be considered a perk. And it's immediate, it's tangible, it's right away. You can get the coupon, you can go see your movie, and you're done, right? And so those types of things are perks, and other banks continue to do that. In some cases, you could even see when you use your, say, a miles reward card to go buy groceries, and you get 2 for 1 for a particular time period. Say for a month, 2 points for every dollar you spend on groceries. Those are perks. Those are immediate things that you can accumulate points on.
Sure.
So in our line of work, the opposite of that, or the related piece of that, is called a benefit. And the benefits tend to be, sorry for lack of better words to say, they tend to be less sexy, less immediate. They're things you don't think about until you actually have something. So the benefit in our case is standard things like auto rental insurance or a warranty program when you go buy an electronic item, for example, or a trip product, booking your airline tickets with a particular card that has trip cancellation or trip delay benefits. Those are considered benefits. And so, again, whether a consumer right now is listening to this video or an issuer is listening to them, they need to be considered and marketed differently, or at least understood differently. A perk is something that you can see immediate issues on. It's kind of like a motivational speech, right? You get all fired up, you get excited about a motivational speech, and then that starts to wane over time. A benefit is something that has a longer cycle so that you get into a habit of using your card all the time. Again, I think from our point of view, the reason we're such big fans of benefit is because we want to drive long-term usage and behavior. So if you're a traveler, we want that card to be top of mind and top of wallet all the time, because you're going to put every single travel purchase on there. You're going to put your hotel, your rental cars, your airfare, anything related to travel, because you know that those protection services are there. So I just wanted to make sure that we had a conversation today about perks versus benefits.
Well, that's terrific. So you're saying that perks are often provided by what we call the merchant establishments, those who provide actual services or sell goods to customers, providing a benefit. Could be a one-time opportunity. But what we're doing with benefits are providing longer-term benefits, many of which are insured. And in some cases, as we say, the situations of many pay for the claims of a few. And I think that's a good distinction you've made.
Yeah, and again, they both serve a great purpose, right? If, for example, an issuing bank needs to try to stimulate some sort of usage, excuse me as I scratch my head here, as the issuing bank tries to stimulate some sort of usage, sometimes those perks are good to remind people to use their cards. Maybe they've seen a fall off in a particular card activity, so they'll do that. I think equally, the issuing banks can also promote the fact that card usage should be considered when you're making trips or you're planning for that spring break, which many people are probably doing right now. So they each serve a different specific purpose. They're used a little bit differently, but overall, the idea is to get the consumer to use the card, and it's an incentive, sure, and it's a retention method also, right? It makes you realize that when you book your airfare to that European trip, you don't have to worry about a lot of things because your trip is insulated and protected.
Well, certainly the CBSI benefits that we've been providing to banks and their customers for over 30 years really can provide a long-term benefit on items bought on a credit card, all the gadgets, all the laptops and tablets being bought, as well as all the trips, as you said, are people are going to be taking coming up in the spring for spring break and throughout the year. So important factors. Good distinction. You have a final thought for us today?
I think that's it. You know, I always enjoy talking with you. Let's try to do this next week. What do you say?
Looking forward to it again. And Jack Hojnar, my colleague from CVSI office in Chicago, great to have you with us today, and good points on the distinction between perks and benefits. So from our headquarters here in Harrison, New York, this is Ken Kraetzer for CVSI Services Talking Business. Have a great day, everybody.